Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Jessica Gem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 4 of What If Deku Never Returned to UA? I wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. All of Izuku's fear, all of his torment, all of his anguish, all of his rage, all of his hatred, all of his fury, all of it condensed into one pure and deadly form. He first saw it in his mind's eye. A dark skeletal hand reached out from the depths of his subconscious, seeking to grasp his very soul. The hand is followed by a decrepit, rotting body. The foul stench of death engulfed his senses. It then appeared, mere paces behind him. He could feel his body tense as if his limbs were bound by an invisible force. The fear paralyzes. The ever-looming presence of death flashed before his eyes. That same hand, reaching out and destroying everything that could ever be. Death, but not his own. No, the ones he loves, the ones he's tried to protect, the one right in front of him. Ochako. He can see it all happening again. The pain, the suffering, the loss, it's all coming to fruition once more, and he can't do anything to stop it. His mind paints a chilling picture of Ochako's face decaying into mere ashes. There's nothing he can do but watch. There's nothing he could ever do for them. For her. He refuses. The feeling weighs him down, but he powers through it, and out of desperation, he pushes Ochako from his grasp. Uraraka, go! That's no fun. Shigaraki's voice rumbled deep from within his throat. The crunching of dirt echoed through the air as he blasted from the ground and appeared behind Ochako. She quickly spun and tried to tag him with her quirk, but the attempt was futile. He grabbed her arm and threw her forward, sending her to the ground and smirking at the sight. I'm thinking you're gonna stay right there. I can tell you will be useful. Izuku leapt into action. All of his fears, all his doubts, all of his pain, it all disappeared. If the fight was going to happen, it was going to happen. But he would not let anyone die for something that was his responsibility. All that mattered was the here and now and protecting the people he loves. He threw himself forward, an explosion of black whip tendrils shooting out from his body. 2 tendrils went for Uraraka, and they pulled her back and away from Shigaraki. The rest latched onto the pale man, tightening as much as possible and pushing him back. It threw him into the side of a mountain, creating a small opening and burying him under rock and dirt. He turned around for a brief moment, looking at Ochako, who was now floating in the air being held by Black Whip. He tried to speak, but her voice comes out first. Let me help you! He doesn't bother answering. Instead, he focused his energy on Black Whip and shouted at the top of his lungs, Use your quirk on yourself! Get out of here! With a strong throw, the tendrils whipped back and threw Ochako far into the sky. He tried to aim it in the direction of Shoto and Kachan, but he didn't have time to calculate it correctly. He just hoped she would be okay, and that she would stay away. He turned back with a green fire erupting from his eyes. Shigaraki! A laugh. That is all he got in response. A deep and hearty laugh echoed out from the small hole in the mountainside. Shigaraki slowly worked his way out, fighting against the strain of Black Whip's hold. His body was covered in dirt and debris, and so he dusted himself off, still chuckling like a little kid. He looked up at Izuku with a smirk before grabbing a tendril of Black Whip. The last time we fought, you had one hell of a handicap. But Eraserhead isn't here to cheat for you anymore. I wonder what you can do all alone. Izuku just glared at him. I have the strength and willpower of my predecessors behind me. For generations, they fought till their last breath. I stand on their shoulders as we speak. This power is not just mine, and I promise you it will be more than enough to stop anything you try. But I've seen it, Shigaraki. There's something inside you that feels familiar. Shigaraki weakly chuckles. You know, all this martyr crap kinda bores me. His other hand grips a tendril of black whip as well. It's like I said before. You heroes go on and on with this justice and peace talk as if it actually makes any sense. Did you see something inside of me? Really? All of you are the same. All of you are hypocrites, and all of you shill for the corrupt world we used to live in. You call us villains and then pretend as if you could ever understand. Steam rose from Shigaraki's hands and Black Whip singed underneath them. Ah, what the? But not anymore. I've changed it. I've stripped that back. Black Whip pulled away from Shigaraki as it was suddenly lit on fire. The only thing left is you. One for all. I didn't understand before, but now I do. It's the one thing I need in order to make sure the society is rebuilt the way I see fit. Izuku recoiled as fire erupted from Shigaraki's hands. The flames vanished, however, and his red eyes looked down at the cracked pale hands. I have all for one. I have just about every quirk at my fingertips, an endless array of destruction at my disposal, and yet the one thing I lack is just out of reach. Shigaraki looks back up at Izuku. But that will change. I'll take one for all, and I'll liberate myself from this idiotic burden, just like I did my master. All that will be left is me. I reject anything else. Izuku stilled at Shigaraki's words. He liberated himself from his master? What did that mean? He remembered being in the vestige world with him and seeing Shigaraki attached to All for One. He hadn't been in complete control back then, but something has changed. He remembered feeling that tick, the same one he felt when he first saw Eri, the same one he felt when he saw Kachan being attacked by the slug monster. The need to save. It overcame him, and against all of his hatred and anger, he couldn't help but want to save the person he saw. The child inside Tomura Shigaraki is still there. He knows what he saw. But now, everything's changed. If All for One is no longer influencing Shigaraki, then what does that mean for the actual physical All for One? Is that why he hasn't seen All for One this entire time? Is that why Shigaraki looks less conflicted? Now, which quirk to use this time? Shigaraki murmured under his breath. This video is sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for raster graphics editing and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now, and thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. Liberation, Izuku started, cradling his fist to his chest and catching the white-haired man's attention. Why does that have to mean death and destruction? Shigaraki looked at him with a raised eyebrow, and his voice suddenly lowered. Liberation. True liberation is impossible without it. Black Whip snaked out of his body and rested around him. He wanted to have this conversation, not only to buy time, but to also find the real Tomura Shigaraki. Even still, he needed to be prepared for an attack. If Shigaraki noticed his tension, he didn't mention it. So Izuku tried again. The ability to do what you want without being restricted or controlled. I understand the appeal of it. I was born quirkless, and I was told that my dreams of being a hero and saving people were impossible. I understand what it feels like to be rejected by society, even if we're different, like you say. I know what it's like to wish for a reality where there's nothing stopping you from following that dream. No, Shigaraki said plainly. I am not naive like you. I used to dream of becoming a hero, but then I saw the world for what it really is, and I've seen what heroes truly are. They're nothing but frauds, hypocrites, and cowards. I walked the streets covered in the blood of my family. Not a single person stopped to help me, let alone a hero. They're the reason for all of it. They built a system that rejected me and millions of others. And for what? You're right, Izuku responded. But heroes are fallible just like anyone else. And the same goes for villains. Things need to change for the better. I agree with you. But why does that mean destroying and killing? How can you justify all you've done? And that's why you're weak, Shigaraki spat. You're too afraid to do what's necessary. You'd rather stand idly by and watch the world slowly burn alive, rather than put it out of its misery and start from scratch. You have the power too. You could do it if you wanted, but you're weak. Not me. I'm done waiting for a hero. And how do you know that that's what the world needs? Izuku challenged, voice cracking slightly from the pure emotion. How do you know that your way is the right way? Killing and destroying innocent people aren't at fault for all of society's issues. Look around you, Shigaraki screamed. Anarchy, chaos, death, destruction, misery. I've experienced all of that every day of my life. Millions of others have as well. But you people like to call us villains in order to hide that reality. Take that away. Let everyone experience it and see how fast the mirage fades. And what if you're wrong? Izuku pressed. What if this isn't what the world needs and nothing changes in the end? Shigaraki was silent for a moment before he finally spoke. The world rejected me. Everyone rejected me. So I rejected in return. Whatever comes of that is of its own volition. You brought this on yourselves, whether you want to admit it or not. Izuku too was silent for a moment before he finally spoke. I'm not going to let you hurt anyone else, Shigaraki. I'm going to stop you. You say heroes sit idly by. I won't. I won't let you kill or destroy anymore. And after that, I won't let society fall down the path it was going. I promise you that. And how do you plan on doing that? Shigaraki asked, smirking and raising a palm to Deku. A deep smoke started to rise all around him, and Black Whip snapped at the ground like an electric eel. Around his arms and legs, a ring of energy started to form, and the zap of green electricity struck the air around him. He could feel the presence of the vestiges behind him as his eyes sparked with the flashing light of his power. Izuku looked at Shigaraki with a steely gaze. By using everything I have. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the content thus far. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to say if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake animes with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years and older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching. Farewell and have a divine day.